So when Scarlet and Violet was first announced for the Pokemon TCG, all eyes were really on one thing: those new Terra cards. You know, the crystallized Pokemon with the big crowns and hats. That was the headline act, the big shiny mechanic that was supposed to define the whole new generation. But that wasn't the real revolution. While we were all looking at those sparkly hats, Pokemon was secretly changing the TCG forever. So that's what I want to discuss today: how they did it, and why you're suddenly pulling way more hits than you ever did before. For years, collectors were getting more and more frustrated opening booster boxes during Sword and Shield. It often felt like a lottery you were just going to lose. We all know the pain of opening 36 packs and walking away with maybe only 4 to 6 hits total in a booster box. It was a feeling everyone in the community shared. The whole conversation was just about brutal pull rates and how the best looking cards, the alternate arts, felt impossible to get for a normal person. But then, the Scarlet and Violet base set came out in March 2023, and something just felt different. All of a sudden, packs felt exciting again. The thrill was back, and it really had almost nothing to do with the Pokemon EX or the Terra cards they were putting in the box art. So, if you've been feeling this change and want to understand what's going on behind the scenes, stick around. We're about to go deep into the data and the design choices that completely turn the hobby around. Alright, so let's first talk about what Pokemon wanted us to focus on. When you launch a new TCG generation, you need a big feature. And for Scarlet and Violet, it was bringing back the EX mechanic and the brand new terrestrial stuff. Pokemon EX are a fan favorite from back in the 2000s, so bringing them back brought a lot of nostalgia with it. Then they put the Terra EX cards on top of that, which added a gameplay thing where a Pokemon's type could change, and they gave them that crystallized diamond looking texture hat thing that we're still all kind of puzzled by. And along with those changes, they made some big cosmetic ones. The yellow borders that English cards had for, 20 years? They were gone, replaced with the silver border ones that Japan used that everyone loved. The hollow foil patterns were new, the set structure was different. On the surface, they were the big things everyone was talking about. This was the story they gave us: a new generation, new mechanics, and a new look. A little nod to the past. And we all bought it. The community was buzzing about whether Terra Pokemon would even be good in competitive format, how the silver borders looked in the binder, and which of the EX cards would be the strongest. But all these changes, even though they were big, were really just surface level changes. They changed how the game was played and how the cards looked, which they always do, sure. But they weren't the thing that would totally change what it feels like to be a collector. The real change was buried one layer deeper, hidden right there in the set list. The real genius of Scarlet and Violet era comes from something that actually started as an experiment back in Sword and Shield. The Trainer Gallery. You guys remember that, right? It was a subset in the last few sets of the era, and it had these full art cards with amazing character-focused artwork. Everyone loved them, but they were a bonus, a temporary thing, just to help make pull rates feel a little better compared to the earlier sets in Sword and Shield. So the secret revolution with the Scarlet and Violet was they took that idea and made it permanent, a core part of every set, not a subset, but of the main set. They just gave it a new name: Illustration Rare and Special Illustration Rares. This wasn't just a name change. It was a total shift in how they designed sets and rarities. In Sword and Shield, a pack had one reverse holo and one rare slot. Your chances of getting anything better than a regular holo were pretty slim. Scarlet and Violet just rewrote the playbook now. Every single booster pack guarantees you 3 shiny cards, 2 reverse holos, and 1 holo rare out of those 3. And here's the most important part: those reverse holo slots can now be an illustration rare. That one change had a massive impact in what meant that hit cards were. With full arts, special arts weren't just in the single rare slot anymore. You could now pull a beautiful illustration rare in the same pack as a powerful ultra rare EX card. The absolute best you could get from a single pack was suddenly on a whole new level. And the data the community has gathered backs this up. In the first few Scarlet and Violet sets, the odds of pulling a special illustration rare, which is basically the new version of alt arts, was around 1 in 32 packs. That was a huge improvement from Sword and Shield, where things to pull a top tier alternate art could feel like 1 in 500, even 1 in 1,000. It was crazy. For the more common illustration rares, the odds were even better, with some data showing you could expect 1 in about every 6 packs. Suddenly, a booster box wasn't a question of if you would get a hit, but how many you would get. You could realistically open a single box and expect to pull multiple illustration rares, and a lot of fun in that time. You could realistically open a single box and expect to pull multiple illustration rares, and a lot of the time at least one special illustration rare. This was the secret. The tarot cards were the flashy marketing, but the real meat was how they permanently put these high rarity art cards into the slots that were easier to hit. Pokemon had quietly made the thrills of the pull something for everyone again. So, why does this matter so much? It's simple. Really, it made collecting fun again for everybody, not just the people with incredibly good luck, which is not me. The chase for the one single super rare card like the Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies, it created a situation where 99% of your openings just felt like a failure. But this new way of doing things changed what a good pull even was. The focus shifted. It went from hunting one specific card to appreciating a whole range of incredible artworks. These illustration rares are made to tell a story. You have cards like the Ralts and Corilla, I can never say that name right, from base set that show a Pokemon's life. That made one big scene across the two cards. The artists were given a ton of freedom to show Pokemon in their natural homes, playing with other Pokemon or just showing off their personalities in a way a normal card never could. This created a whole new reason to collect. People weren't just trying to finish a master set, which this was actually the first master set I ever completed. They were trying to collect a story of a Pokemon or get both parts of a connecting art. Cards like the Spidops had connecting arts to its previous evolutions, but it wasn't just the card arts told a story, but now artists could really flex their muscles and people started falling in love with artist designs. For instance, the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved and the Drowsy from base set, people started just collecting from the artists now because of how good the arts were. This changed the whole feeling of opening packs. You didn't need to pull the single most expensive card in the set to feel like you got your money's worth. A box that gave you a handful of beautiful illustration rares was a win. It made it easier for anyone to have a satisfying experience and brought that same sense of joy and discovery back to the hobby. Minus maybe the scalpers who were just trying to make a quick buck. It made spending your time and money feel worth it because you were rewarded more often. It turned what had become a frustrating gamble into an exciting treasure hunt again. Now, people easily forget how hard pull rates used to be, and I still hear people complaining about pull rates, but trust me, they have gotten much better. It's been amazing to see this change across the whole community. And speaking of community, if you love these deep dives into the TCG and want to be part of the conversation, think about subscribing and being part of the Bulba Cards YouTube channel. This is the first of a mini series where we will do a review of each set, and then at the end, kind of do a review of the entire block. So, subscribe and stick around for more. Now, as great as the new era has been, it hasn't been perfect. We have to be honest and look at the downsides too. The biggest, most consistent complaint about the Scarlet and Violet era has been the terrible decline in English card quality control. I mean, as soon as base set came out, social media was just flooded with pictures of cards straight out of a pack with noticeable damage. Dents, creases, awful centering, and those rough edges that had whitening all over them despite being fresh out of pack. The art was better than ever, but finding a card in perfect gradability condition became its own challenge. So you have this weird situation where even though hits are more common, getting a gem mint graded card copy of a popular card can still be super rare and valuable just because of all the factory damage. A lot of collectors have pointed out how different it is from the Japanese cards, which are famous for their better print quality, sharp cuts, and brighter colors. On top of that, while the pull rates got better overall, it did have an effect on the secondary market value for a lot of cards. It cooled things down. When the base set dropped, that Miriam special illustration rare was hyped up to be the next huge chase card, and the price shot up at first. But as more and more people pulled it, its value settled down to a more reasonable level pretty quickly. This accessibility is a double-edged sword. It's great for collectors who just want the cards for their binders, but it's less exciting for people who are in it for the high value and into the investment side of the hobby. And even though rates got better at the start, there's some evidence from the community's data that for the absolute top tier special illustration rares, the odds have been getting a little tougher in the newer sets, maybe shifting from 1 in 32 packs to closer to 1 in 90. It's a move that's maybe meant to keep the value of those big chase cards high in the long run, but for me, I actually prefer those special illustration rares being relatively easy to pull. I mean, go look at the Scarlet Violet base right now. The top special illustration cards are still like $20, $10. That's crazy. So where does this leave us? The Scarlet and Violet era kicked off with the promise of terrestrial Pokemon, but its real legacy is going to have nothing to do with those crystal crowns, thank God. The real lasting change was the secret revolution in how they designed the sets and the pull rates. By making these illustration rares a permanent and easier to get part of the TCG, the Pokemon Company totally transformed the experience of being a collector. They addressed one of the biggest problems in the modern hobby, that soul-crushing feeling of defeat from opening packs after pack after pack and pulling nothing. They replaced it with a new sense of discovery and a real application for art. The era shifted the community's focus from hunting one single card, almost impossible to get chase card, to celebrating a whole gallery of beautiful, story-driven art that was actually within reach for everyone. It hasn't been without its flaws though, so especially with the frustrating quality control issues. But this change was a huge net positive for the average fan. It brought the joy back to opening packs and made building a beautiful personal collection something anyone can do. Years from now, we're not going to remember Scarlet and Violet for the Terra mechanic. We'll remember it for the era that took the amazing experiment of the Trainer Gallery and made it into the new standard. It was the era that decided to make incredible art accessible, and in doing that, it secretly brought in a new golden age for Pokemon card collectors. And kind of created this crazy market that we're in right now. But good thing, bad thing, you decide. But what do you guys think? What do you think of the biggest legacy of this era? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think it was good? Did you like the high pull rates? Did you not like it? Do you think it had a net negative or net positive? And don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to stick around for more Bulbacards content in the future. We will be dropping a video soon about the new Hyper, Mega, Ultra Rares in the Mega Evolution set. So, we will see you guys next time here at Bulbacards.